Hey there, and welcome to That News You Care About, a weekly video game news show from the folks over at That Nerdy Site. Today is Monday, March 8th, 2021, and I'm one of your hosts, Logan Wilkinson. Joining me this week is my Phoenix son, Trevor Starkey.
Hello, hello.
How you doing today, Trev?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right as well. It is a muggy day out here in Austin, Texas, but nonetheless, I will take it over snow, for starters, and ice. How's the weather in Phoenix?
Warm, pretty warm. I was saying it was like
nice.
84 degrees today, I think.
Yeah, I like it. We are unfortunately not doing a weather podcast. That's coming soon if we hit our Patreon tier on that. But what we are talking about is Epic and Mediatonic. Trev, what happened in the last week here?
So on March 2nd, Epic basically came out and announced that they had acquired Mediatonic Games, the people behind Fall Guys. As well as, and I didn't realize this until somebody pointed out not too long ago, they were also the people behind Hatoful Boyfriend, I guess, which is the like dating sim where you date a pigeon. I just never put together two and two there. But yeah, basically Epic has come out and said like, hey, we're Tim Sweeney, very interested in kind of creating the metaverse, i.e. the Oasis from Ready Player One, for people that know that reference, of like, hey, let's bring all IPs and all properties together. And clearly they've been doing a ton of that kind of stuff with Fortnite, as well as they notably acquired Psyonix, the company behind Rocket League, a year or so back now. So Fall Guys, of course, kind of came in and did a lot of that same metaverse building, like let's cross over all the streams and the IPs and bring them all together and stuff. So yeah, kind of very like shock announcement last week, but
Yeah.
It happened, and they've all parties have kind of come out and said like, this isn't going to, just like with Rocket League, this isn't going to change like where you can play these games or anything. Obviously, Fall Guys will still be big on Steam, and like they're not going to take that away anytime soon or anything like that. So yeah, and then it's obviously Fall Guys like is currently console exclusive on PlayStation, but has already been announced now that it will be eventually coming to Switch and Xbox, and those plans aren't changing at all. So it's just a matter of when the PlayStation exclusivity deal kind of wraps up on those. So yeah, Epic acquiring another major battle royale in their in their pocket, and it's interesting like thinking about it in the context of like, they acquired Rocket League and they acquired Fall Guys. Obviously, we've already made a lot of parallels on this show and some of our other content about how Fall Guys basically did the Rocket League thing in coming out, and just kind of going gangbusters as a PlayStation Plus game, that because of that availability and accessibility and notoriety made it also shoot to the top of the charts in Steam and kind of had its big moment in the sun last summer. And then has kind of continued on and had a healthy life afterwards. I definitely don't think it's like anywhere near its peak, but it certainly has continued to thrive, and they're going into their 4th season now, I believe, of content. Admittedly, I haven't really checked in myself since that very high highs flurry of enjoying the game back when it launched, and then immediately it falling off of my radar and getting frustrated with it and stuff. But yeah, it's definitely a huge get for the whole team at Mediatonic, I'm sure. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see, like, as I sit down, as I've gotten really back into Fortnite in the last few months, kind of with the like all the crossovers they've been doing in Fortnite, i.e. like Kratos and the Mandalorian and Master Chief and the Predator, and they're like right now on the shop they've brought all a bunch of the Marvel characters back that you can pick up and buy. Clearly they're doing all that crossover stuff too, but there's also like references in game to Rocket League, and like there's like a radio station that's like the Rocket League radio station, and there's like, I know at least one place I can go to on the map that's like a house that is just decked out with like Rocket League posters and stuff like that. And so I figure it's only a matter of time then before we start getting like Fall Guys something or other incorporated into the game, be it like maybe they'll do a radio station that you can play on the cars that plays the Fall Guys theme or something like that. Or we'll start seeing like Fortnite characters start making their way into Fall Guys skins. Like whatever the cross promotion synergy they start doing with those games, I'm sure it'll be, interesting. But yeah, just another kind of like certainly nowhere near the level of the acquisition that also today I think the news broke that like the SEC has approved the acquisition of ZeniMax from Microsoft, so that deal's imminent at this point. So we'll see kind of all those things, and this isn't like that level of buyout and shake up and merging and all that stuff, but it's still a notable one, especially since I would argue, kind of occupy a little bit of the same space in the in the very colorful battle royale genre.
Yeah, I mean, for me, looking at the article from VentureBeat by Jeff Grubb, he's got a few different graphs that I really liked, and one is, quote, just the potential for a partnership between Mediatonic and Epic is obvious. Thanks to Fortnite, Epic has mountains of cash that it can spend to build content and partnerships, and Fall Guys is an ideal platform for Fortnite-style events, end quote. And, like, to me, that's a big part of this, too, is that Fall Guys seems like such an obvious thing to do Fortnite-style events and do Fortnite-style kind of, like, crossovers and bring those characters in, right? Like, they already have all these different kind of, like, outfits you can have from other kind of properties, and it seems to me pretty clear that they're only going to include more and more of those, do some sort of tie-in, have some sort of like, I mean, Fortnite was having like concerts out there, and I wouldn't be shocked to see Fall Guys. They're going to do concerts, but definitely do some sort of events as well. Epic knows how to, I think, capitalize on a property like this really well, and I only expect them to just kind of, again, like it said, they have so much money. And they're going to invest it in Fall Guys to just make it even more successful and to just build it up even more, to make it a thing that isn't just a, one summer kind of hit, but make it something that will last for like years, right? Like they want this to be like a Rocket League or like a Fortnite now too, which have kind of had multi-year long successes at this point. Rocket League is 6 years old. Jesus. And so I think that to me is why it makes so much sense, right? Like this partnership seems like it so clearly benefits both sides of the equation here, right? Especially with Epic trying to just expand its like live service gaming empire, I guess. This is such.
You mean did you literally just read that from the VentureBeat article? Because like that's like
no, is that what it says?
Yeah,
is that what it says?
That's one of the headers. Like
if I scroll down more
in giant bold, like a little bit under that paragraph you read, it's
perfect.
Epic expands its live service gaming empire. So yeah.
Oh, me and Jeff are the same wavelength. Yeah, perfect. There it is. No, wow. Okay, great. But yeah, like they just have, I think. This is going to be such another great like crown jewel, I think, for them, and I'm actually really excited to see this. Right, I'm less sour on Fall Guys than Trev is, I think, and I think that the back end of Epic and what they can kind of map out and scope out for like the rest of this year and then 2022 as well for where they kind of want to take the game is super exciting. Right, like it's going to come to Xbox and Switch at some point in time. I would assume the exclusivity deal is maybe like a year, in which case it'd be like this summer.
Yeah, they've announced this summer. It's just a matter of like, is it like a 9-month deal or is it a full year-long deal kind of thing?
12 long, yeah. So that's perfect. Then they'll come there, and I expect this to be like really exciting, right? Like Rocket League, not even now, but Rocket League 2 years after it came out versus when it came out was such a dramatically larger game, and in a similar vein I expect Fall Guys 2020 to Fall Guys 2022 to be such a more expanded game, a larger game, a bigger game, and like so much more happening in that world. I mean, Rocket League's another great example of like doing events within that kind of world. So I'm actually really excited as someone who admittedly hasn't played Fall Guys either, since I might have briefly done a little bit during like Game of the Year wrap-up stuff in like December and January. I might have hopped back in, but otherwise hasn't really played it too much since the summer. I would love to kind of hop back in and see in 3 or 4 months times what that game kind of looks like again.
Yeah, I mean they like especially the seasonality of Fall Guys is something that I think certainly Fortnite has really kind of like run away with and kind of taken, and it'll be a matter of the like Fall Guys has done like big themes for their seasons. Obviously, they had kind of the medieval like wizards and stuff. Wizards and Knights was kind of like season 2, and then season 3 was the holiday kind of snow theme stuff. Season 4 is gearing up to be like futuristic stuff, and like that a lot of that is similar to kind of the Fortnite stuff, but in Fall Guys vernacular, that's we're doing those themed costumes, which Fortnite does as well, but we're also introducing new levels, new games within kind of the structure of that game, versus Fortnite that like changes the map up sometimes very drastically, but sometimes it is just kind of like, oh, here's a fresh coat of paint, or for holidays, like here, we've thrown in Christmas trees and presents and stuff around the map, but everything else is just like the same base map. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how Fortnite, or how the Epic mentality, because I admittedly I have never been back to Rocket League in many years, let alone after the acquisition. So I don't know necessarily how that acquisition moved over and kind of impacted the Fortnite side of or the Rocket League side of things. But I know like Rocket League had, before that acquisition, had already started going to the like battle pass model that Fortnite had kind of really kind of proven. And so and Fall Guys already kind of has that battle pass model built in at no extra charge, and so it'll be curious to see if they end up creating some sort of like premium battle pass model in Fall Guys to kind of echo that sentiment of like, oh yeah, you'll get like some things, for free, but if you upgrade to like buy the battle pass, you're gonna get like the real premium stuff.
Way more stuff, yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely curious. I mean, Rocket League, I think like you said, had definitely already jumped on, like the premium battle pass kind of version of the game, even before they kind of the deal with Epic. And Rocket League also had such a little bit like Shovel Knight, had so many things already announced in advance in terms of like DLC expansions they were adding onto that game, that I think the deal with Epic made sense for them too, in terms of just like, also now we're getting just like even more cash injected in here to just expand it even beyond the kind of thing we'd originally announced when the game first launched. I don't know. I mean, Fall Guys is interesting because it is all free, like all the expansions that kind of being added on. So how they kind of, I think, try to keep that delicate balance between not having to just like certain areas that you can't access versus trying to get some sort of money out of players who want to play more and want to get like the ultimate version of the game.
I mean,
will be interesting to see, I think.
They already kind of echo the same model in that like Fortnite is a free-to-play game too.
Yeah.
But and if you don't buy the battle pass, you'll still get some things as you kind of level up throughout a season. But Fall Guys kind of came out the gate and was like, here's 40 levels and you'll get something for each level, all free of charge. But then on top of that, you can also buy, what is it? Kudos, I think, is their like
is their currency.
It'll be interesting if they start allowing people to buy crowns, because that's the like.
Ooh.
Crowns is certainly the more premium currency, and a lot of the gear, especially like the your Doomslayer types of things are locked behind crowns, and you have to have won enough games, or especially starting in season 2, they started adding way more crowns to the battle pass season pass thing. So it'll be curious if they just start allowing people to buy crowns outright.
That's interesting,
just like with V-Bucks and stuff like that. Because I know, like, I listen to What's Good a lot, obviously, and that's one of Andrea's complaints all the time is she would love to have some of those outfits, but because she's never won the game, she doesn't have the crowns to acquire them, and so that's one of her frustrations. Is she wishes like she would pay money to buy a lot of those outfits. And another thing that both games do is they also have like standalone packs that are like, hey, spend $5 and you'll get these outfits, or spend $10 and you'll get these outfits, outside of like, you can't buy them with V-Bucks, you have to buy them with real cash kind of outside the
Real
game.
money,
So
yeah.
as basically DLC packs. So yeah, like there's already enough of similarities between those models that I think it'll just be a matter of like, fine tuning and tweaking. But I definitely think, within 6 months we'll see kind of the Fortniteification of Fall Guys a little bit. And I imagine it would be something like, oh, you can buy crowns now, or you'll like by default you'll get these game pass or these levels. Even that maybe they won't do because Fall Guys isn't a free to play game. So you are buying the game outright, and maybe as part of that transaction you're buying those season passes that you get each year.
Yeah.
But maybe they'll do some kind of like, 2-tiered season pass like they do in Fortnite.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious to see kind of what this means for the long-term future of Fall Guys going forward. But, Trevor, do you have any final thoughts on Epic buying Mediatonic before we pivot to the next topic?
I don't think so. Well,
Okay.
I guess another thing that I'll be curious to see if they do, especially once like all the exclusivity stuff comes up, is if they create a mobile version of Fall Guys, like they have a mobile version of Fortnite. I think that'll be another way to just get that in more people's hands. So that's probably another.
That's interesting.
That's probably another thing we'll see somewhere down the line. And Fall Guys control scheme is even simpler than Fortnite because you just have to like move around the map and jump, and dive, I guess, but and grab. But there's no like shooting and aiming, and certainly no building and stuff. So yeah, if they could make Fortnite into a mobile game, then they can absolutely turn Fall Guys into a mobile game. So I'm sure that'll be another big push that they'll have probably sometime
Potential
after
avenue,
the console launch.
Yeah. But on to the next topic. I got a PS5, thanks to one Trevor J. Starkey. And so we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Trevor, pepper me with your questions on the PS5.
So what do you think about it so far?
It's real nice.
Real big, as we talked about when you got it, that you just...
It's bigger than I thought it would be, for sure, yeah. Even like having
despite
seen pictures
all the
and videos.
memes.
Yeah, you really need to like see it side by side with like my PS4 to get like I think the full idea of just how large of a machine it is.
Yeah, it's a chunky boy, chunky beast boy.
It's a hefty kid out here, yeah. But no, it's great. I mean, I'm still definitely exploring some of the UI stuff. Obviously, it's kind of like learning how to ride a bike. Again, if you got a concussion and forgot how to ride the first time, I guess. But it's sleek. There's some things I think from a UI perspective I don't like as much. Obviously, we talked about the trophies, and how they're kind of presented in a different way than on the PS4 and 3, I believe.
Yeah.
Even
the fact that like trophies don't have their own standalone like icon on the UI, and you have to like go under your profile and to find them. Like I don't like that for as often as I'm like looking at trophies or wanting to share trophies and stuff like that. Yeah.
I haven't been able to see the trophies I've gotten from Astro. Is it automatically recording like the 15-second gameplay clips? Like where am I finding those at for the trophies I'm getting?
Yeah, so that's going to be under the media. So it'll be in your storage settings now. Or you could click the share button and it'll give you like the options of like, do you want to take a screenshot? Do you want to start a clip? Or if you go over to the left, there will be like one kind of already queued up there, and it should basically have like the last 15 like either snapshots or videos that you've recorded or that the system has recorded for you. And yeah, I believe by default it's automatically recording 15 or 30 seconds.
15 seconds, yeah, you can pick.
And yeah, like all of that kind of can be adjusted in the settings. But yeah, that's where that stuff lives now. Is if you wanted to go and find like a trophy video from like the first one you got, and you've already gotten enough more or whatever, you have to go into like system storage and then like media, and then it'll be I think grouped by game and like there might even be a folder that is just like do you want to look at trophy stuff, or do you want to look at like actual screenshots that you've saved or video that you've saved and stuff? So yeah, that's where that is. It's another one that is like deeper in there that,
Yeah.
especially if you had a PS4, you're used to having a much easier like way of finding that.
It's
Because
interesting
they were
too
just attached to any of the trophies. So like, because if you went on your PS4 and like went to a trophy, it would have the screenshot, attached from there, and it is not that case.
It's interesting too because if you go to the PS4 and hit like just like press share, it'll just like take a screenshot automatically.
Yep.
Whereas here, like you say, if you push share, it like pops the thing of like, what do you want to do, and then you can kind of do it. So it's like less like.
Yeah,
it's less quick on it as well, I guess.
Yeah, that's another thing. I think
easy,
you can customize, or I think what the solution is basically if you like double tap share, it'll auto take a screenshot.
Okay.
Basically, you can set whatever that default thing is, versus like clicking share and then having the options.
Okay, interesting. That's good to know as well.
It definitely doesn't like there is no like tutorial walking you through all this stuff. It is very much just kind of learning by doing, or going and finding like here are all the things you can do on your PS5 that
here's how you use a
that
PS5.
Sony doesn't tell you. Yeah,
that's a good article header. But yeah, I mean, I've played obviously Astro's Playroom. Is the Liam Pittsfire. That is a great video game. It would have easily been my top 10 list last year, had I played it then. Yeah, I mean, I think it is a charming game, and a charming console. Like, I think there's so much obvious potential with the PS5. Shout out to, for whatever reason, my PS4 was never able to, because we have 5G internet where I'm at. And for whatever reason, my PS4 was never able to log on to the 5G internet. It was only able to use like the lesser G internet, basically. And the PS5 immediately was like, oh, 5G, yeah, absolutely. And so some of my buddies wanted to play Warzone, and I was like, oh, let me download it on the PS5 because I could do that because it was just easily to do that from the PS4 to PS5 shit. And I was like, let's see how quick it really is here. And instead of taking, 7 hours, 8 hours to download an admittedly massive Warzone download, it did the entire Warzone download on the PS5 in 15 minutes. And I was like, that I can get on board with. That I like. Absolutely. Just right off the gate and for starters.
Nice. Yeah. It's definitely, that's something I appreciate with it. One of the issues I've routinely kind of continue to run into, and it's popped up in some of the Let's Plays and stuff I've done on the channel, is when I have it hardwired in, it will like randomly it'll just get like a thing basically saying like your LAN cable is disconnected, and then like it'll immediately reconnect, and it's just like it's not disconnecting, it's just like having this weird like hiccup in reading it. So finally I got to the point where it's like, screw it, I'm just gonna unplug it and let it be wireless, and have had very minimal issues in terms of any kind of connectivity stuff. But
yeah, I very rarely have mine connected to a LAN. So that's fine. Okay, that should be okay.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's just like I mean, it might be a faulty LAN cable on my part, but it was like it was definitely never an issue I had on my PS4, so I don't think it is. It seems more so to maybe be like that port is just finicky, and it's maybe a launch issue thing that maybe will eventually get patched away in some kind of firmware update or something. But yeah, that's honestly that's been like the most annoying little thing that I've run into. And so finally I just was like, well, I can remedy this by just not having it connected to a LAN cable. Cool. Problem solved. Did you connect it with like the PlayStation app on your phone?
No, I have not.
Okay. Because that's definitely something you can do, and you can basically like set up your PlayStation account, and you can just like have you can be like on your phone, you can be like, okay, I'm going to redeem this PlayStation Plus game now, and just go ahead and download it from your phone. And it'll basically like queue it up on your system to start downloading. So that's another thing you can do. Did you migrate any of your stuff over from your PS4?
I have not yet, no, because I had to like have the PS4 also on, and I just like unplugged it and to plug the PS5 in real quick. So that's another activity for the week, is just to migrate everything that way.
Yeah, I mean that's it. It's easy enough to do. In terms of like it basically, like you select the games and the save files you want to upload, and then it'll just it'll upload them to the cloud temporarily, and then it'll download them to your new console. And it's like it's all doing it based off of like your Wi-Fi. So you might not be able to like I believe they both systems have to be on the same Wi-Fi. So you might need to. It sounds like move your PS5 to your non-5G option for the sake of that. But yeah, that's definitely another thing that's out there.
Okay. Yeah, that's good to know as well.
I mean, like I want to say I did that for like a few of my save files and stuff. In particular, after they created that patch that let you just migrate your Spider-Man save file over to the new system. I did that.
I guess I'm fine with it.
But yeah, and then I think I also I migrated. I just recently went in and migrated all of like my Borderlands saves over, so I had to like re-download the PS4 version of Borderlands to the PS5, and then there was a whole messy ordeal on that one that was less intuitive. You've only really played Astro's Playroom though, right? Yeah,
that's all I played.
Warzone, it sounds like. So you have not picked up
I guess Warzone technically.
any new PS5 games or anything like that. Okay.
No.
Because one of the things that has increasingly been like an issue in quotes since I kind of gave my initial impressions that I'll just give you kind of the heads up for is if you buy a PS4 version of a game that has like the PS5 upgrade, specifically if you buy it on disc, the system automatically like will install the disc version when you put the disc in, and then it'll be like, hey, this one has a free upgrade. You just need to download the free upgrade version through the PSN. And so like with Yakuza Like a Dragon recently, I did that. I bought the game, a couple months ago, and then I was like, oh, it's going to have a PS5 version eventually. That's when I'll start playing it. And so as I've been going in to play it, I downloaded the PS5 version, and then it had already pre-downloaded the PS4 version. I was like, okay, well, now I've got the PS5 version. I don't want to accidentally load into the PS4 version because that's another thing that like isn't as intuitive. And so I would delete the PS4 version, and then like I'll, close the system and come back later. And when I boot it up, it sees there's a PS4 disc in there that is not installed on your system. So it will start reinstalling the game. I'm like, I don't want to, whatever. So I just have two versions of Yakuza Like a Dragon on my system right now, but I'm only playing the PS5 version. And so that's another thing. Like, it's like a notable thing that I've run into with with Sackboy, with Valhalla, with like Watch Dogs Legion. If you bought like the specific PS4 versions of those games, it's something you would run into. And in some cases, you do want to buy the PS4 version because it's going to be $10 cheaper for reasons. So yeah, that's just something to be aware of and be mindful of. Okay. I don't think it's an issue if you like just do like if you just buy it digitally or something like that. But it might be. I think I've seen some people kind of complaining about that too, is like downloading the wrong version. But
oh sure.
And then like going in and playing and being like, wow, this doesn't look great, and then finding out after the fact, oh, it's because I'm just playing the PS4 version through backwards compatibility.
Version of the game.
Yeah. So yeah, those are some of the things to keep an eye out for, I guess I would say.
Okay.
How far are you in Astro's Playroom at this point? Have you played through all of the levels yet?
I have not played through all 4 of the levels yet.
Okay.
I imagine. I mean, tomorrow I'm gonna play it. And I imagine if I don't beat the game tomorrow, I'll get very close to beating the game. I can't. I mean, I can't have that much of it left.
Yep.
And then it's just a matter of like cleaning everything up. This seems like the easiest platinum I'll get since a Telltale game.
Yeah.
And so you're just doing that. So the ones that I'm kind of like a little bit like, ooh, those are gonna be a little bit trickier, in the context of like an Astro Playroom tricky. are just the ones where like you're a ball or like gliding, just because like there's a bit less control on those, obviously. But it's still, I'm not too worried about finding like the hidden puzzle pieces and stuff like that.
Yeah, and even on those, like I think maybe there's usually like one hidden thing you need to find in those versions or something like that. It's still like it's easy enough to 100% any of those things.
Yeah. Once, because like I had missed it on the first world that I went to. I was just kind of like, I thought you would just find all of them. And then when I was in like the second world is when I began to be like, stop, and like that's when I found them all, even when I was a ball. So I feel pretty good going back and be like, all right, now that I know what I'm looking for here, it's a video game. They're gonna try to hide shit and just be aware of that logic.
And if you can't,
so I'm not too
if
worried
there are
about
any that you can't find, you can always use the like activities cards that'll kind of give you like the video tutorial of like, hey, here's the thing you're looking for. And I think you can just do that by like pushing the PlayStation button, and it should be one of the things that pops up of like.
I didn't even know that it did that. Okay.
Yeah, those are like the tips and guides kind of thing that they've put in for the PS5 specifically for like PlayStation 5 games. So you can't boot up like a PlayStation 4 game on backwards compatibility and it suddenly has, all those tips and tricks. But that was definitely one. I remember there was like one puzzle piece in one of the levels I couldn't find. I couldn't figure out where it was. So I checked into that and sure enough, like video was queued up basically to right where I was in the level and was like, okay, yep, here's where it is. And I just kind of needed to like go around a corner that I had missed.
Okay, perfect. I love that. Okay. But yeah, after Astros, it'll be some juggling act of like Miles Morales that I go to next. Maybe I do Control because I got it from the PS Plus game. And I'll finally get on to play Control and I can give an opinion about this 2-year-old video game. Maybe I say no to both of those and finally play Maneater. Because I've wanted to for a year. I'm talking to one of Maneater's most passionate fans in Trevor, so I'm excited to finally be able to share the thoughts of it.
Even then, like I definitely don't consider myself like a passionate fan. Like I enjoyed the game, but even I've always like my award for it at kind of the Game of the Year awards was like the Swimming in Sevens game. Because it very much is like a good game. It is a great good game. And yeah, like I did admittedly go back and get the second platinum for it a couple weeks ago or whatever. I basically platinumed that and Control in like the same weekend. Re-platinumed those games on the PS5.
It's all a matter basically of just like what I'm going to play next while biding the time before me and Trevor play It Takes Two together. It's gonna be real special. I hope you're ready. And so, yep, that's where I'm kind of at right now. It's great. I'm excited to dive more in this week, really, because I think I got it like afternoon-ish on Thursday. I think it was. So yeah, I'm excited to dive more into it now, and fiddle around with it. Figure out these new tips and tricks. Platinum.
Yeah, you can also
Playroom.
just because I know obviously it's another one that you and I have both been very enjoying. Hitman 3, I believe, is one of those that has like a free upgrade to PS5.
Yeah, that's right.
So you should just be able to download the PS5 version of it from PSN, and even that one you might not even need to like carry over a save because I think like all of the stuff is being saved to your Hitman profile through IO.
That's a good one too, because then I can actually do the Hitman 3 contract that you designed for me as well.
There you go. Yeah.
I'm writing. I just have notes that I'm writing down about all the things about the PS5. Trevor, any final questions on the PS5 for me here?
I don't think so. I'll like. Oh, I guess what since obviously it's one of the other big features of the PS5. What do you think of the controller, the DualSense?
I love it. So I think for me, an initial worry was that it is a bit, not even like thicker almost. And as someone who doesn't like the fact that like the Xbox controllers are so beefy, I had kind of some initial, thank you. I had some initial kind of like worries like, I hope it's not like too like, much, but I think it fits very well. It is wild, the like haptic shock thing. How much I like vibe with it. The dumb like gimmicky stuff of like blowing in the controller for some of the stuff. It is what it is. but I think it gets the point across, right? One of the things that, like, I know is super, it is not a complex video game thing at all, but just the thing of, like, I'll use my phone example. The reality of just, like, being able to, like, completely flip around the controller and that being, like, translated onto, like, the thing that you're looking at on the screen in Astro's Playroom is super cool. And I know it's, like, very basic, but, like, there was a moment for me where I was like, I flipped it around like that, and I was like, that's as far as it'll let me go, because that's how video games have worked for 20 years. They can't go, like, you can't go 360. And I went like that, and I was like, how do I get to the back? And I was like, that's good enough, I guess. And then it was like, I wonder if, and I just, like, did it. And I was like, oh, shit. And it was like a mind-breaking moment, like, oh, video games can, like, do 360 controller view now, guys. And so that was an exciting moment. Actually, was probably when I looked at the PS2 controller.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, is that a fun element that you're finding in Astro's Playroom? Is all the little Easter eggs and stuff? Are you reading like the flavor text that comes along with each of them?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, that's so much what makes Astro's Playroom so special, right? Is all the little, like, you know, the Easter eggs, and it's the really obscure shit that I'm thriving for, right? Like the just like random like like even the PS1, which is like the one that I'm like I have the fewest memories of just because I was so young. It's still just like, oh wow, I've not thought about that in literally 20 years probably.
Yeah.
Has been really enjoyable.
When I found like the multi-tap for like
yep, that's what I was gonna
like
say.
The V-shaped thing for playing with four controllers, or whatever. I was like, oh god, yeah. I don't think I ever had one of those because I
know I didn't.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, this was the N64 era too, so like the N64 was the system I was playing with like my friends. And the PS1 was basically like my Final Fantasy machine, as I've touched on a lot. But yeah, like I remember that being a thing and being like I remember it being like almost like a prestige kind of thing of like, oh, you must be rich if you have one of those, because it also meant you had 4 controllers or whatever stuff like that. Yeah.
I'm excited to dive more into the PS2 world, which, like we talked about, I think before we recorded one of the podcasts last week. I accidentally went to first and then like backed out. And then so I'm excited to like find all the secrets there and see what like hidden gems they have tucked away for the PS2, because that's obviously a console I love very dearly. But yeah, I mean, it is just like one of the things for me, and I'm sure we'll talk about this later on, probably like this weekend's recording of That Nerdy Site show when we probably do a recap on Astro's Playroom kind of in depth. Is you've spoken about like Astrobot since like the VR game that was a few years back. On just how charming it is, and just how charming of a character these kind of bots are, and how fun that world is. That being like taken up to like 11 with Playroom. And even still not fully appreciate, like, it's just that thing of like, this is a video game where you can't help but just smile, I think, and just enjoy yourself. And especially if you're someone like the two of us are, who have been playing PlayStation games for, 25 years this year. It's just such an excellent love letter to, I think, the PlayStation brand. And so well done. And to me, it is a great example of like Nintendo is not the only console with history by any means now. 25 years of PlayStation is, that is that's basically my entire life except for 4 years. And so I think it's super cool to see what has been kind of, PlayStation is my Nintendo in a lot of ways, right? Like, I'm not Tim Geddes. I don't get excited about Nintendo announcements, but like I do for PlayStation ones. And like, it's cool to see like, hey, like, this thing you love and these characters you love and these moments you love and these weird like multi-tap accessories that you have like identified with are all coming back and kind of getting their moment in the sun. I'm so excited to see what like the final like finished like mural on the wall is gonna look like. Even because like my PS1 one is like 80% full because I've been like I really kind of went ham and getting everything there. And even that's already just like, this is gonna be so cool. Like I love what I'm kind of looking at.
Have you gone in and started like redeeming stuff at the gacha machine?
The little like claw machine thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's like you could go through in like 100% every level and you still won't have like a ton of the stuff because you get most of them from the gotcha machine there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite like Astrobot Easter egg that you've found or come across in the game so far?
I don't know if it's my favorite one that I've come across so far, but one that I told you that I was really surprised just in terms of the turnaround was seeing like the Ghost of Tsushima like Easter egg there and being like, holy shit, they got a game that new in here still. Was kind of a cool moment. And then otherwise it's like everything inside of like the PlayStation Labo.
Yeah.
Like all the tiny little things, like, because that's the thing, like that's the very first place I went.
Yeah.
Because I thought that's the PS1 world, like I talked about. And so I went there first and I was like, holy shit, like they're like all the, and like I tried to like look at every screen that they were like working on, tinkering on, like them like driving like the car around in circles, like all the different stuff. I was like, this is such a cool room. And then obviously it becomes even cooler once you get like all of the artifacts put down and like the mural starts to fill out, and it's like, wow, this is such a dope like Easter egg heaven for if you're a PlayStation fan. And yeah, like it's just, I'm continually charmed and smiling at every kind of second playing in this game. I'm excited to figure out like all their other Easter eggs. I haven't found the Last of Us one yet.
Okay.
I haven't found the Crash Bandicoot one yet, and I don't even know if there is one, but I would assume there's some sort of Jack and Dexter thing. I haven't seen that if there isn't that in the game.
Yeah, all three of those are in there. Yeah, I believe, I think Last of Us and Crash, and I think Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn. I think they're all on the same level.
Oh, okay.
And I don't remember which one it is though.
Okay,
It might be the PS4 level.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah,
right, yeah.
like,
So I'm excited to see.
I mean,
those.
you'll definitely see them and catch them, especially because like the Last of Us one also includes a clicker, so it's pretty hard to miss that one. It's pretty hard to be like, I don't know who this guy and girl are supposed to be when there's like a clicker behind them, kind of thing. Yeah.
It's super fun. It's super charming.
It's the PS3 one, and I remember that because some of the room elements in that one are like the big thick R2 and L2 buttons.
Ooh.
So yeah, I believe that's where you'll find them in the PS3 level.
All right. Yeah, I'm excited to go through it more. Again, like I said, I imagine I'll probably beat it tomorrow, and it's just a matter of cleaning up from there. But yeah, I mean, it's great. The PS5 is great so far. I'm excited to kind of obviously dive kind of more headfirst into it. There are a few like final games I might go back to on the PS4, but for the most part, I mean, I've transitioned obviously into the new generation, and it feels good.
I mean,
it looks good in the future.
I mean, any of those PS4 games you should be able to play on your PS5.
Well, just because, so peek behind the curtain here, audience. Because I'm thinking of doing like what my like top 10 games of the generation would be, and so some of those I might go back and like dabble in on the PS4. But I guess I could play them on PS5.
I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like you'll get faster loading on the PS5. So I would
a weirder transition time period.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited either way. To kind of see what it's got in store for me here. I love the last thing I'll say is I love the aesthetic design of the PS5. I know that it's gotten a lot of people talking about it. I love it, actually. I think it is a very sleek, like beautiful looking console.
Yeah, because you have it upright as well, right?
Yeah. Yes, I think upright as well. I think on its side, I do not like the look of as much, just like from an aesthetic perspective. But like upright, I think it looks very nice. Like I would say, it's better looking than the fat PS3 for starters, just right out of the gate. But what isn't as a console? And then, from there, I mean, it's probably like objectively the most aesthetically like beautiful PlayStation console, just because they're all going to try to get kind of more good looking. In terms of like in my heart, obviously the PS2 and the PS1 are obviously like those iconic ones. And I've always been on the record as saying like I really like the like OG PS4 is like a very like simple, just like sleek, clean console as well.
I mean, that's like,
but
it definitely feels like PlayStation and Xbox kind of like switched their design methodology this time around. Maybe like, I guess maybe even like the PS5 reminds me of like the 360, whereas the Xbox Series X reminds me of like the PS4. Yeah, like it definitely like it is a much more like utilitarian like form over function kind of box. Whereas I think the PS5 has like a nice just sense of style to it.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. With that said, Trevor, we'll move on. Do you have any shout-outs you want to give for this week?
No shout-outs to speak of.
I have no shout-outs as well, so there's no news to talk about that we didn't already cover. With that being said, that's the end of the show. You made it. Congratulations, audience member. You can go support us over at patreon.com/thatnerdysite if you like what you heard. It'd mean the world to us and make us very happy. And who knows, one day maybe we'll have a big party and I'll give you a hug. You can go again to patreon.com/thatnerdysite. Like all of our wonderful patrons have, check out all the tiers, all the goals, all the other stuff there. Their support and your support makes a difference and makes shows like this and like that D+ show happen. And we couldn't do this without you, and we're very, very appreciative of that. You can also go show your support by liking, subscribing, and sharing with your friends on podcast services and social media platforms all across the internet. And rating and reviewing us on iTunes. It really does make a difference. Everyone says that. It's because it's true. Some cliches are. Otherwise, you can go find Trevor at Trevor J. Starkey on the internet. Trevor, is there anything that you want to plug?
Yeah, a couple plugs. One is please check out this last week's That D+ show on WandaVision. We did not like go out on Friday like we normally do. We held it a day so that I could bring in not only Cam and Frank from That Nerdy Site to come talk about WandaVision, but also Josh Silverman of Bear Punch and Mario Rivera of Point in Progress joined me. So we had a big old 5-person show talking about WandaVision. It was fun. It was great. Like we all kind of shared our mutual love of Nick at Night and growing up as like children of Nick at Night and how that ties into WandaVision. So that's one thing I want to plug. And it was also just a great chance to like sit down and actually talk with people about WandaVision as opposed to like seeing theories and stuff on the internet. And the other thing I will shout out is the Let's Play that went live yesterday as of this episode going live is me sitting down with the new game Stronghold Warlords. The team over at Firefly Studios were kind enough to give me a code this last weekend, so I sat down and spent a little bit of time with it. It's a very kind of throwback to real-time strategy games and stuff like that. So I sat down and recorded that. The embargo will have lifted, like it lifted today as we're recording this, but I did not. I didn't move up the Let's Play to like coincide with that. I just figured I'd put out the Let's Play at our normal time.
Initial thoughts of the game?
I've put in way too little time to like have like real initial thoughts because it's pretty much I've only played the Let's Play portion, which was the first couple campaign missions, and I basically died in the second campaign, or I lost in the second campaign mission. So I need to definitely dust off my RTS skills. That said, like a couple elements that I wish were in there already that are clearly not are from an accessibility standpoint, the subtitles is just like a toggle yes or no, and I wish I could increase the size of them because it was very tiny to try and read it as I'm playing on my PC. Okay. And then the second element is that there's just no difficulty settings. So the fact that I'm dying on the second campaign level of like the easiest campaign, the introductory campaign, does not bode well for me unless I can go in and like find cheat codes or something like that that'll help make me invincible or something. But yeah, those are like my very preliminary thoughts that I also cover a little bit in the Let's Play. But yeah, go check out. I want to say it's like a 30-minute Let's Play. I do the tutorial real quick and then I play the first couple missions of the game.
You can go find me at LeftyLogie or LeftyLoggy, Loggy on the internet. I will also give a shout out to the YouTube channel in general and all the Let's Plays Trevor has done over there. They're all very, very good. I finally got an Elgato, again, also courtesy of Trevor Starkey. And so you can expect to see some stuff from us. I would say at the very least something from It Takes Two, if nothing before that. And yeah, I mean, I would go check that out. I'd also go check out my written piece where I went back through the last 10 years of Game of the Year winners for myself and kind of reflected on how they've held up, why I initially chose them, if I would do it again, and if not, what I would choose in their place. I actually had a lot of fun doing it. I just think that people should do it as like an exercise in general to kind of see the last like 10 years of your game and taste. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with that. I think the article is fun too, so I'd encourage everyone to go check that out. Otherwise, you can go find That Nerdy Site at That Nerdy Site all across the internet. And with all that being said, for myself, for Trev, and for all of us here at That Nerdy Site, play your games and be good to each other.